shocking story where beauty and evil are tightly intertwined. Yvette Manessis Corporon grew up listening to the story of how her Greek grandma risked everything to hide a Jewish family from the Nazis. Almost 7 years later, proud of her grandmother's courage in the face of evil, Yvette, 70 I should say, Yvette would set out on a journey to find the descendants that her grandmother saved. But in a tragic twist of fate, just days after the joyful reunion when she did find them, Yvette's 14-year-old nephew was murdered when a neo-Nazi opened fire at a local JCC. Watch this, watch. Yvette Manessis Corporon remembers reading the headline on April 13th, 2014.
It said, white supremacist kills 3 people in Kansas. It's other people, it's never your story. He killed 3 people that day, none of whom were Jewish. He murdered my 14-year-old nephew, Reet, and his grandfather, Bill Corporon. I don't understand it. If I can't understand it, how can I explain it to my kids?
Just days before Yvette's family was celebrating, she had just solved a family mystery dating back 70 years.
That's Savas, that's definitely him. Amazing.
My grandmother was born and raised on a little tiny island in Greece called Erikousa. She always loved to share with me was how difficult life was during World War II and how she and the rest of the islanders on Erikousa helped hide and save a Jewish family from the Nazis. The Nazis went door to door warning everyone on the island, we'll kill you, we'll murder your family, we'll burn down this entire island if anyone here is found to be hiding or helping Jews. And despite the very real risk, everyone on that island kept their mouth shut and helped save this family. When I held my daughter, my firstborn, in my arms, and I thought about what my grandmother did, it just, you know, I had heard her story again and again, but I never really paid attention. And I was overcome with guilt. And I realized that, you know, maybe it was time to finally pay attention. I think the journalist in me kicked in, and I said, well, you know what? I want to finish my grandmother's story. I want to find the family that she risked her life to save.
And after 7 years, Yvette did find the Jewish family, along with the power of forgiveness.
After seeing my family in Greece standing up and refusing to let hate have the last word, that's exactly what's happening to our family today here in the U.S. and Kansas. By seeing the power of ordinary, everyday people, when they stand up to shout down the hate, ordinary people can do extraordinary things.
Wow. Yvette Manessis Corporon is here with us. Her new book, Something Beautiful Happened, documents her family's story. Yvette, great to have you here.
Thank you so much.
So the way this started is extraordinary. So Savas was a tailor.
Yes.
A Jewish tailor. And your grandmother and everyone in this little town would use his services.
Exactly. It was a tiny little Greek island off the coast of Corfu, you know, very small, very provincial. There were no stores, there were no police. And when they needed something, they would cobble together enough money, go to the mainland, and Savas, the tailor, would make an article of clothing for him. Savas had 3 daughters, and they became very close with my grandmother and everyone on the island. So when the Nazis rounded up all the Jews of Corfu and sent them to their deaths at Auschwitz, Savas and his girls managed to escape to make it to our island where my grandmother and everybody worked together to help hide and save them.
The fact that not one person said a word when they knew that they would be killed. The Nazis made very clear anybody harboring a Jewish family or person would be killed.
Very true. My father, who was 9 at the time, remembers the Nazis in our home, ransacking, screaming, shouting, where are the Jews? Where are the Jews? We know you're hiding Jews. We'll kill you. We'll murder your families. We'll burn down this entire island. They did that from house to house. And despite that, not one person on the island gave up the secret. Even those who didn't want them there, who knew it was too dangerous, who asked for them to be taken back, did not open their mouths. Everyone was heroic.
So when you say it wasn't until you had your own children that you recognized what that your grandmother's courage. Why was that the moment?
I think it wasn't until I held my daughter in my arms, my firstborn, that I really thought about what my grandmother risked, and would I be willing to risk my own child to save another woman's child? Would I do as my grandmother did at a time where people were dying of starvation all across Greece? Every day she took food from her own children's plates to feed her friends. Would I have the strength to do that? And the answer is, I don't know. I wish I could say yes, but I have to be honest with you. I don't know, and I don't know if you have the strength to do that as well. How do you know what you're strong enough to do unless you're in that situation? Would you be willing to risk your own child to save another? And I was overcome with this guilt because I loved my grandmother, and I would pay attention, and then I'd run off and like go hang out with my friends.
Sure.
I never asked those questions.
Well, we all had, have grandparents who tell us these stories, and you sort of listen to it like, wow, but like they're not all like that. So to your credit, it dawns on you, you need to understand exactly what happened, and you go on a search for Savas's descendants.
Yes.
And you ultimately, after 7 years of searching, you found one.
It took 7 years of like knocking on doors, going back to Greece, asking all my relatives, and everyone was like, sure, I can help you. I know where they are. Crickets, nothing. No one ever called. No one knew anything. Totally was like, it was so very Greek. Yes, of course I saw them last week. No, you haven't seen them in years. Trust, you haven't seen them in a long time. So finally, I reached out to the Holocaust Museum in Israel, and also to the researchers at myheritage.com. And together, the researchers at the Holocaust Museum and MyHeritage were able to help me track them down. And when I finally found them, I'm sobbing. Oh my God, I pick up the phone. I can't believe I found you. I've been looking for you. They're like, what are you talking about? Because like so many Holocaust survivors, the women never spoke. Their families had no idea how they survived. And that an entire
They didn't know the story?
They had no idea.
Oh my God.
They had no idea because like so many
You found, just so we know, you found Savas's daughter, his third daughter's child?
I found
Savas's grandchild?
Exactly. I found Savas's grandchild in Los Angeles. And then there was another little girl named Rosa, who was 9 years old. Her entire family was murdered by the Nazis. She managed to escape with Savas and his daughters and was hidden on our island. Rosa had 2 sons and 3 granddaughters, and I found them in Israel. Both families, Israel and Los Angeles, had no idea how their mother survived, that an entire island risked their lives to save them.
Oh, my God. What that must have felt like for you to talk about your grandmother's role, your family's role in it. Of course, as we told you in the taped piece, the story takes a stunning and sad turn. But you won't be surprised to learn that Yvette and her cousin Mindy found a way to find beauty in the darkness. And we pick it up there after the break. And we're back now with author Yvette Manessis Corporon. Her grandmother hid and saved a Jewish family from the Nazis in 1944. But the devastating irony 70 years later was that her nephew, Yvette's nephew, was killed by a neo-Nazi. Her cousin Mindy was that little boy's mom. She tragically lost her son and her father in that senseless shooting, and she's also with us now. Mindy, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
May I ask you, did you know this story?
I knew that Yvette had already written a book, When the Cypress Whispers, so I knew a little bit about her story. I did not know to the length that she was going through to find the family members.
Mm-hmm. And so you have the reunion, Yvette, where we left off before the break, and it was 3 days later?
It was 3 days after I first contacted the family. 3 days after the first phone call of, I can't believe I found you, we've been looking for you. And my children had watched me for years searching for this family, and when I finally found them, I said to my kids, look where you come from, and look at this family, this entire island who stood up and did the right thing. The family survived, the Nazis were defeated. Always be proud of that. Stand up and do the right thing because the Nazis were defeated.
Yep.
And then 3 days later, their cousin is murdered by a man shouting, Heil Hitler.
He wanted to kill Jewish people.
Yeah.
Your family's not Jewish.
Nope.
I don't know how you process that, Mindy, having lost your son and your dad in the same shooting by someone with nothing but hate in his heart.
Yes, that's exactly what he had in his heart. He had planned the murders, not specifically of my dad and son, but he went to the Jewish community campus on purpose to kill Jews. He intended on killing a lot of Jews that day. He ambushed my dad. He pulled in the parking lot behind my father and got out very quickly and shot my dad within about 2 feet range with a shotgun, and then turned the gun on the truck and shot Reet through the truck. And my dad died immediately, and Reet lost his heartbeat in the ambulance within about an hour and a half.
Oh my God. Every mother out there is wondering how you can survive that, right? How does a woman survive that? And yet here you are. And what was incredible when I read your story was the night of the vigil, memorializing
Yes.
them, you stood up with the pain still fresh and said, something good will come of this.
Yes. There was another woman who was murdered after them. And when I went to the vigil, I didn't know who that other person was. It was very important to me to state at that vigil that the two people that I knew and loved and were my whole being were wonderful people, were great people. My dad was a physician and still practicing medicine. And my son was a performer, a singer, and a performer. And he was at the Jewish Community Center for an audition. And I wanted people to know immediately that a couple of things. One, God didn't kill them. I didn't want anyone to think that God did this. I wanted them to know that something evil had happened, but that because they were such good people, that we would make sure that good came from it.
And that brings us, yes, to the title of the book, Something Beautiful Happened. And there has been healing after this loss. And there was healing in your own family.
Exactly.
What does it mean, and there's something beautiful happened?
The title Something Beautiful Happened stemmed from a question that my son asked me the night of the murders. My son Nico was 9, and I climbed into bed with him the night that Rate and Bill were shot. And he turned to me and he said, crying, he said, I don't understand, Mom, but you told me the Nazis were gone and the family was saved. How could this happen? And I really, really struggled with that. I'm a mother, I'm supposed to answer my children's questions. How do I make sense of the senseless? How do I explain hate and anti-Semitism when I don't understand them? And I realized that I don't have the answer to Nico's question, but what I do have is a story that in the darkest days of the Holocaust, their great-grandmother and this entire island stood up to bring light in the darkness. And today in Kansas, what Mindy and the entire Corporon and Lamano families are doing through their Faith Always Wins Foundation is to bring light in the darkness and to make sure that something beautiful happens. So something beautiful happened on that little island in the Holocaust, and something beautiful is happening today here in the United States because of Mindy and the foundation that she started.
Well done to you. And
Thank
to
you.
you as well.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for sharing your incredible story. You can get more information on Mindy's foundation and their family story at today.com/Megyn Today.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.